Malintzin, most popularly known as La Malinche, is a Nahua woman who is recognized in various modern readings by historians to have assisted Cortez in all of the major events involving the Spanish conquest of Mexico, even through the fall of Tenochtitlan in 1521. I would have liked to say that today she was seen as a controversial figure that people both admire and dislike, but the reality is that many modern Mexican people today dislike her and remember her as nothing short but a traitor to her people. But that's where a lot of people go wrong, because Malintzin's decisions are quite misunderstood. How? Well, we have to start from her beginnings. Malintzin was born sometime around the 1500s and grew up learning Nahuatl in the region between Mayan and Aztec empires, the Yucatan Peninsula. When she was young, her father died, and so her mother had 1. Remarried, 2. Sold her to Mayan slave traders, and 3. Staged a funeral to make her death believable. As a young slave, she had no control in her actions and was subjected to working in poor conditions as her owners made her cook, clean, perform domestic tasks, and it's even speculated that she was prostituted, which almost likely affected her thought process in her role in the social hierarchy. As she was sold a few times by owners, she picked up and became fluent in the language Yucatec. Later, around what most people believe was her mid-20s, she eventually ended up in Boltanchan until her life changed when 20 young women, including Malintzin, was offered by city leaders to Cortez as gifts in 1519. She soon distinguished herself as Dona Marina by the Spaniards. Due to her being bilingual, she was his translator and interpreter that forged and strategized connections with other nations. In Cortez's travels, she had heavily assisted Cortez in killing the leader of and conquering the Aztec Empire through creating alliances with tribes that disliked the Aztec rule and had saved the Spanish conquistadors from time to time. These are seen when she had investigated and uncovered that the indigenous people in Tlaxcala were plotting against Cortez, and when she became associated with an elderly woman who informed her of an attack by the Montezuma, to which she proceeded to inform the Spaniards. These are the acts of Malintzin that many people consider as villainous, like T.R. Fehrenbach, who says, "If there is one villainess in Mexican history, she is Malintzin." But in digesting the information given so far, we have to set a couple of things straight from this for you to think differently, empathize, and understand her choices. 1. If we reflect back to her life, the hard truth was that the only thing she was taught was to obey and serve. From her time with Mayan slave owners to Cortez, where she was even granted some power, had she not followed their interests, she would have most likely been killed. 2. She probably resents and does not have a very large and reasonable reason in defending this society from Cortez because of the things they've done to her in the past. As we can recall in her story that all throughout her life before Cortez, she was enslaved and exploited from even childhood. Lastly, as many people see that Malintzin was Cortez's mistress or that she bore him a son, you have to remember that she was given to him as a slave originally from the start, and that there are no articles or books from what I've seen that indicate that there was love or consent in their relationship. Sure, Malintzin may have not left any records from her time when she was alive, but from what we can tell from historians' interpretations or other accounts, Malintzin's life was not of a person who betrayed her people, like many others are to believe. It was of a misunderstood woman that made decisions that could have only been understood by learning about her history and the situations she was put through.